Alright, a big disclaimer here before I get started. I know nothing about the necropolis that you don't already know, and that is just a fact, right? I don't have any inside information, so whatever I say about it, it's pretty much all speculation, right? We do know like the health pools and all that of necropolis publicly, but we don't know anything else besides it. We know some defenders and some nodes, but besides that, we really don't know what to expect from the necropolis. And another thing to know is that you should save your rank up resources until after necropolis drops so you know who is actually good for it. I don't know who is good for it, and I will never know until it actually drops, right? This is just for fun, going over some champions that are pretty insane for Everest content. Will they be good for necropolis? We don't know, right? Because there are different nodes and defenders in there that could really alter a champion's value in said content. So with all that being said, let's talk about Knull for a second and why he is such a good champion, especially for Everest content. Knull has the Living Abyss charges and armor breaks, which stack up to 99. And once he is fully ramped up, his damage output is just insane, right? But here's the best part, it only goes up and up and up. So his armor breaks don't have a cap because every special 2 inflicts 10 extra ones and it goes over the 99 usual limit, right? So that is just crazy good, and he pretty much maintains this damage output for the entire fight once he's fully ramped up. Additionally, he has some pretty great utility such as great sustainability, especially paired with cool masteries because of his bleed and poison res. He also has armor break, and he also has a passive armor removal, which is insanely strong. And then the best part, in my opinion, is his very extreme combat power rate reduction. This is just so powerful anywhere in the game because you just mitigate so many opponent special attacks. So against defenders that have very hard specials, he just doesn't care and he just takes care of them so well. And that is why I feel like he is such a good champion in any form of content because that one ability is just so good. And especially if there's like a timer that you have to try to meet, having that extra time to do more damage because you bait less special attacks is really useful. So maybe that comes into play, but then again, maybe he's just not good for necropolis. You never know really. But now let's see some gameplay against high health pool opponents. For example, right here, this 9.5 million health Captain America, which is a ton, obviously, right? From what we know so far, the health pools in Necropolis are about 7.5 million health. It could be higher in some matchups or even lower in some matchups, but from the trailer we know that there is at least some 7.5 million health pool matchups, so this is a fair enough test for Knull. And like I said, the ramp up for Knull is a bit time consuming, right? But once he is fully ramped up, the damage output afterwards is just disgustingly powerful. It is so strong, and the best part is even in like regular matchups, like even battlegrounds, if he is max sig, you do a lot of damage really fast because 1 SP1 is enough to just ramp up a ton. But at 99 charges, this is where stuff really gets crazy. So we're almost there, just like a few more heavy attacks and then we'll be good to go. And by the way, to ramp him up, you want to do heavy attacks or medium attacks to build up your Living Abyss charges. So yeah, it's also pretty easy to play, which is always a good thing in my opinion. And we are almost there, man. Just like a couple more combos, hopefully. Like I said, it does take a bit of time, but once he's fully ramped up, it is just so worth it. So now we have the full ramp ready. We dropped the SP3, and now it is time to do some pretty nasty damage output. And look at that, man. 31,000 light attacks, 20,000 light bleeds as well, which is just pretty dang massive. And here is the best part. This might seem like the maximum damage output, but you are in fact wrong because watch this. I drop a relic, 40,000 there, pretty nice stuff. But then I drop the SP2 and we add more armor breaks to our total. So the armor breaks actually keep on stacking above the max cap. So if the fight goes on even longer, he just keeps on building up armor breaks, which is so insane because that means his damage output is pretty much infinite. And even if it isn't, we don't know the cap of it because he just ends fights that fast. even this 9.5 million health Captain America doesn't show us the maximum damage output of Knull, which is so wild, man. But yeah, this is going pretty good so far. We have about like 119 armor breaks. That's like 36,000 damage right there, which is crazy. And yeah, the fact that it gets even higher is just absurd to me. So here I dropped the SP2, 76,000 crit right there, and then we get a non-crit, but it's fine, still a ton of damage output. And this is why I think Knull is just such a good champion, because when he's in corruption, he is just so easy to maintain and just keep up the damage output, right? And that's why I feel like he's such a practical character as well. So here I dropped the SP2 again, no crit there, but then check this out, 128,000 on that crit. This is just so unreal, right? And we are running the recoil masteries, which does help the damage output a ton because recoils just supercharge armor break champions, and Knull is one of them, and he is also good with them because of his bleed and poison reduction. So yeah, you pair that with like the armor breaks and he becomes one of the best, if not the best champion to run recoil masteries with. And yeah, check this out, man, 87,000 damage and then a nice 136,000 damage there as well. And that was a 9.5 million health Captain America in about 4 minutes and 52 seconds. And for a final bonus, here is the difference of a 7-star and a 6-star Knull. Now, this 6-star Knull, of course, is a bit inferior because of the stats. So I want to show you the difference between a 7-star and a 6-star Knull because the time difference is honestly a bit surprising. So right there we have like 49,000 mediums, 30,000 light attacks, but keep in mind this Knull already has 149 armor breaks up, and 7-star Knull is doing this damage output with about 99 armor breaks. So the difference in damage output is honestly pretty insane. And while 6-star Knull still hits very dang hard, the 7-star one just is a bit crazier when it comes to maximum damage output. But here's the final sequence. We dropped the SP1 here, and yeah, this is a wrap. And the total fight time for this fight was, I believe, 5 minutes and 35 seconds, which is about 43 seconds slower than the 7-star rank 2 Knull, who is also only Sig 100, while the rank 5 6-star Knull is about Sig 200. So pretty big difference there. But yeah, Knull is just such a crazy champion, man. He has insane damage output, especially in these higher health pool matchups, and his utility is just great anywhere, but it can also have some use in specific matchups, maybe even in the Necropolis, but we don't know that just yet. But the potential is definitely there for Knull, right? But let me know your thoughts on 7-star Knull, and yeah, that's about it for me.